Welcome, everybody, to the Bernie Kosar Show with Hanford Dixon. I'm Angry Ken kicking off the show today, and the reason I'm kicking it off is because I'm not angry anymore. We're back in the playoff hunt, and we got Victory Tuesday. Guys, let's hear it. What do you think coming into this big victory?
Well, what a way to get into our bye week with a season-saving Monday night victory. Massively needed there.
Well, I just want you guys to know, and I got to get my bark in before I start talking about anything.
Here we go, Brownies.
Did you guys see me today? I just thought I would honor this team.
Oh, yeah. Looking good. Looking good.
I pulled out that 29 jersey today because I thought it was just well deserved, BK.
It is well deserved. You're really styling. I'm really looking, enjoying the way you're looking there. And I've talked so much last week about how much I love Joe Burrow, and I'm so happy on a Victory Tuesday and a Victory bye week to be sitting here and saying, I love Joe Burrow, I love how he plays, and for Jacoby Brissett to play better than the great Joe Burrow last night, and to see the game that he played leading our team to that W was impressive.
You know what I have to do? I have to give these guys a lot of credit. I mean, they came out and they played extremely hard. I think the good thing is for the first time, I thought we saw them play really well in all three phases, talking about offensively, defensively, and special teams. Every single unit, BK, came out and they played.
That was probably the best complementary football that we've played. Reiterating what you're saying, the offense, defense, special teams. There's been a lot talked about special teams performance through the course of the year, defensive performance through the course of the year. To shut out Joe Burrow in the first half like that was an awesome way to spend my Halloween Monday night.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, it's such a relief to get that victory, but it started with, hey, you got to go Jacoby Brissett, top of the list. Let's look at our first play that we're going to break down. This is Jacoby to deep AG.
It is the opening drive.
Yeah, seeing Jacoby again, 17 for 22. 278 yards, 133.7 quarterback rating. He only has 10 incompletions in the last 2 weekends.
Tell you what, he had a career high quarterback rating. I mean, this guy, he's definitely won me over because he just comes out and he plays with his heart and he gives you everything on every down.
You know, we talked last week, the attention to detail. How you do little things is how you do all things. How Jacoby Brissett did the little things Monday night was impeccably perfect. All our goals as athletes, as football players, is to play the perfect game. It's almost impossible, as you know, for us to play a perfect game. Jacoby Brissett played as close to a perfect game last night by doing all the little things almost perfectly last night.
Well, I thought it was funny because you and I talked about it, a little bit off the air, and you really highlighted this because the passes that he didn't connect on pretty much were passes that he was throwing away.
Yeah, he did
intentionally.
He did a clock it. He did 2 throwaways. So of his 5 incompletions, 3 of them were on purpose. So even more impressive.
Well, let's break down that one that was outstanding. Kick things off with that.
More than one was outstanding. Well, let's just check out this one outstanding
one. It was the first one. It was the first one. I'm
first
giving him a lot
drive
of
by
love.
the Browns.
Yeah, and you know what? As we're talking about Jacoby and this pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones, this is man press coverage. So we've talked to me and Hanford at length about this through the course of the year that the safety has inside help, so he's going to shade and have outside technique here as you see him here. Donovan Peoples-Jones still goes inside, and for him to get to the outside edge of the shoulder and get outside the cornerback here is really impressive. Outstanding route running, an absolute horrible minus by the defensive back for the Bengals.
And that's where I was headed. I mean, just a terrible play. by the defensive back right there, number 29. Because
But we're Browns fans,
well,
so I don't want to say
we're Browns fans, and we're happy it was a terrible play because you hit on it. You're talking about a guy that has inside help from the safety, and what you have to understand is one thing you cannot get beat is that to the outside, and that where he fell for that little okie dokie. But you got to give DPJ a lot of credit. I mean, he ran an outstanding route,
heck yeah,
able to get out there, and when he ran the route, I mean, Brissett put it right where he was supposed to on the numbers.
With impeccable timing. And quietly, Donovan Peoples-Jones has had a fantastic year. I think that was his 6th game in a row with north of 50 yards catching the ball. He had 84 yards of receiving last night. That athleticism, that must be the new thing now. Let's vertical jump over people.
Hanford, as a cornerback, you get that vertical hurdle over you. Anything you can do to avoid looking stupid there?
Wait. I'm sorry. Before you answer that, wait, is this, what's the problem? You're not asking me with my lack of athleticism? How
Bernie,
come
when you used to hurdle people.
I couldn't even in my dreams contemplate hurtling people.
You know what?
I will defer to you on
hey,
this.
guys, you know what I say when you have a back or a receiver or an offensive guy jump over your head, the DB or the linebacker or whoever the guy that's being jumped over, he closes his eyes. You could tell me, you could say what you want to say, because there's no way if you don't close your eyes, the guy's going to get over top of you. And we're going to watch it in the film. I mean, a little bit early, Nick Chubb did the same thing. He jumped over, hurdle over guy. But boy, I tell you, you're talking about a guy with athletic ability to be able to do that is outstanding.
So, guys, I got to tell you right there, as Browns fans, we're a nervous wreck. We started out that game. By the way, the Browns won the toss, and I love the fact we deferred. Defense shows up. We got that Miles. We don't have the clip, but that was that Myles Garrett tipped and A.J. Green with that great interception. Then the Browns come back. We got that interception or Myles Garrett sack.
To that A.J. Green interception and Myles Garrett, though, that's something that in the league now, when you have those 3-step quick drops like that, and to Myles as a speed rusher who's did a really nice job last night putting pressure on Joe Burrow. But when he read that it was a quick drop and a quick throw, and for him to stop his pass rush, stay up, stick his arms up, and to tip that was impressive.
Well, you have to give Joe Woods a lot of credit. I mean, you have to give him a lot of credit. That was part of his game plan coming into this ball game. One thing we knew coming into the ball game, Joe Burrow is getting rid of the ball, getting the ball out of his hand a lot quicker and faster than normally he gets it out, because he can say what he wants to say. He praises his offensive line, but they have been giving up
his
a lot
offensive
of sacks.
line are
So,
not doing him
getting
as a
back
service.
to your point, you're exactly right. One thing that Joe Woods emphasized this whole week in practice to let those guys know, if you see you're not going to get there, and if it's a 3-step drop, get your hands in the
Put
air.
'em up.
Yeah, and it comes up.
Quarterbacks, we
Big
hate
play.
that. We hate that. And then they're trying so quick to mask that offensive line issue of them that Joe Woods astutely puts those guys in that pass blocking phase of it. And for him also, he implemented a couple of really nice disguises last night, understanding that Joe Burrow, his dad was a defensive coordinator, so Joe Burrow is really astute, almost like a coach on the field. So to see that skeleton too deep coverage turning into blitz man coverage, and then blitz man coverages turning into 2 deep shell coverages, did a really good job of confusing Joe Burrow yesterday.
Well, we're all on pins and needles, and by the way, that First Energy Stadium was rocking, but I think everybody's watching. You got to get that first score. So then we get that ball, and we miss the field goal. It's blocked. We're back on defense, and then Myles Garrett, who had a great game, big sack, and again, we're back and forth. We're waiting. Who's going to score? And just run the ball, but no, we decide we're going to outsmart them again, and this is the, let's just watch it. I don't even know how to describe this. Amari Cooper
Ken,
pass.
you would bring up a bad play after a Victory Tuesday.
Looking at this play from the positive side of it, to think that the score was 0-0 last night at the end of the first quarter, and how poorly we played in the first quarter, and really had the opportunity to put a couple nails in the Bengals' coffin, to go and play this poorly and have a play like this go this poorly, and still to resurrect ourselves from this and still end up with a 32-13 victory. That is a positive sign because the typical Browns would not be able to bounce back from this type of ugly play.
Well, we're gonna get into our betting section a little bit later, but if someone bet it, the score would be 0-0 and the first quarter they won some money. But
And for the gambling, the betting section there, we're gonna bet that play will not be run again next week.
Well,
Okay, Amari Cooper, we love you, and I love your answer to this question. But I love how you've never thrown a ball before, and how you've said you'll probably never throw it again.
Right.
But guys, you know what? I know the coach is trying to give these guys some fun plays, but that's not the time to call it. But
and to your point, it's 30. We won 32-13. It's awesome on a Tuesday after a Monday night game that we could do this with levity, and being it from a humoristic standpoint. But typically, sometimes on these big games, playoff games, Monday night games, sometimes us players, coaches, quarterbacks, play callers, we do try to be a little more creative than we want to be. We know everybody's watching us, and we sometimes get a little too smart for ourselves. I don't want to say that that's what happened to Coach Stefanski, because other than that call, that was an impeccably masterful offense, defense, and special teams game plan last night.
And I'll make this note about Cooper. I mean, actually, what he said was he was actually trying to throw the ball away. He was trying to throw it away, and he didn't realize how hard it was
for us QBs
for quarterbacks to throw the ball away. But that's what he was trying to do, and it just didn't come out that way.
It did come out that way. And you want to talk about angry fans? The meter was off the explosion chart at that point. But then the defense,
rightfully so,
defense holds, and we go back to basics: run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and love this call, as you said with Coach Stefanski, the wildcat with Chubb.
Yeah, this is again, Coach Stefanski's taking some smack for some of the play calling and personnel groups, especially inside the scoring zone like this. To see what we did last night with seven and at times 8 offensive linemen on the field like this, our physical presence of just mashing the our offensive line, mashing the front 7 for the defensive line was impeccably perfect last night. I love this play call, and to get that type of push to where you're basically on a 5-yard line, and you get 3 or 4 of your offensive linemen in the end zone too, with 3 or 4 of the Bengals defensive linemen. I mean, that's perfect offense. Coach Callahan's got to be massively impressed with his guys today.
And I don't know, guys, if Njoku was not out of the ball game, that we would actually see this formation, because we probably won't have 1 or 2 extra linemen. We'll probably have Njoku. But the reason why I think this play is such a great play, obviously you take Nick Chubb. What he's got is just great vision. And when he gets this ball, he acts like he's going to go take it wide, and then he sees a crease because those 2 guards, as you mentioned, open up the hole, and all of a sudden this guy's got such speed.
He sees daylight,
and he just puts his head down and just go in there and score.
Doesn't overrun a hole. And for him, again, they have 23 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, he has 10 rushing touchdowns so far this year. I mean, his vision and his ability to hit a hole and follow his blockers.
Ken, you're right. Great play.
Well, you know what? Troy Aikman even commented. He goes, this offensive line has so much talent. But as fans, we're watching this. You got to shout out Coach Callahan, because we're just bringing guys in and out, and we're meshing as a great unit. Quick comment on Coach Callahan.
Yeah, a shout out to Coach Callahan, my CBD lifted juice right there. He is the secret performer and secret performer coach. What he does from the mixing and matching, having 5 guys work as one, and physically work as one. I mean, week in and week out, we're winning the physical domination of the opposing team's defensive line with new guys each and every week.
Well, I was going to say shout out to Coach Callahan with my Diet Coke right here.
Yeah.
But
free plug.
On a serious note, everywhere that he's gone, I mean, he's just done a tremendous job. And you're right, Ken, Bernie. with that mismatch with that offensive line, and still the job that they're doing right now, opening up all the holes. I mean, it's just amazing, just short of amazing.
Yeah, and if you look at it from the other side of it, look at how festive and happy we are with our Joe Woods and the Browns defensive line today. I mean, what would we be saying if Jacoby Brissett had the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line last night? They didn't block anybody. I mean, that was death for Joe Burrow last night.
Well, so again, as Browns fans, we're on the edge of our seat. Looks like we got that touchdown. Cade York come in and kick the extra point. But wait a second, there's a penalty. Now we're moving it to the 1 yard line. And we're just as fans going, oh no, oh no, oh no, this is going to be 6-0. But I think you guys have been saying it all along. Coach Schottenheimer, championship teams get that 1 yard, guys.
So love it. So this is a combination of so many things within what we're talking about and within the awesomeness of our era of football. And God bless, a shout out to Marty Schottenheimer and stuff. And then for as much criticism as analytics and the coaching staff has had, a shout out to them, because championship, good teams, especially in big games and on a Monday Night Football with a division rival, could get a yard when they need a yard. And in the analytics, we talked about this earlier in the year, that it's a 48% success rate on a 2-point play from the 2 yard line. It moves up to about a 67% success rate from the 1 yard line. So the analytics of that say that you should do it. And then the belief that in the beginning of the game, we are just tougher than you. We're here to play today. We're going to run you over, and we're going to get that. That's a hell of a statement to make, and that is a definitive statement that I think was one of the keys to accelerating, amplifying our confidence and our belief that we're going to win this game.
Well, that's what it really comes down to. It's come down to, my team is better than your team right now. My team is tougher than your team right now. And me personally, I don't need a damn analytics guy to be in my ear in that situation to tell me that I'm going for it. Hey, I wish someone would.
I don't even got to look to the sidelines.
I don't even have to look to the sideline. I know what we're going to do and what made sense on that particular down. When you got a back that's averaging, if you want to go with Nick Chubb, if you got a back that's averaging, 5.7 yards a carry, get out of my. I don't want to hear it. We're going for it.
I don't want to make it about the old days, but this would be like I wouldn't even look over. I would be whispering, "Hey, K-Mac, just keep your ass close to me. You're staying in here, man."
Bernie, what would your reaction be if your coach in the red zone ran out that Wildcat and you were going wide?
Well, first, it never happened. I wasn't a Wildcat threat for that. That wasn't a big thing back then. But I actually like that concept. I mean, me having, I had some stout, good run-blocking offensive lines. We say it in jest, but I love Kevin Mack. Yeah. And Kevin Mack was the 80s version of Nick Chubb and stuff. So to have a guy like that, actually, I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't come up with that idea back 35 years ago.
And I still think today you see it more in college than you do in the NFL, pretty much.
All right, so as Browns fans, we go to halftime, 11-0. If anyone would have said 11-0 at halftime, but you're like just waiting for that avalanche in the second half, and of course,
but going into halftime, amazing. It's 8-0. Okay. There was the change of possessions within multiple times. The Bengals really should. I mean, they really mismanaged the end of the second quarter. I mean, how we ended up 11-0 was actually very impressive, because that was a gift from the Bengals. They should have actually had some points to have been within one score. For us to have a double-digit lead.
And football is a game of momentum. I mean, changing momentum. And when you look at the way that everything transpired in this ball game, because the Bengals, let's just say on their first drive, they had they had momentum. They're driving. They had something going on. And now we know how big that play was. Myles Garrett getting his big paw up. I mean, we took the momentum away from him. And you're right. Even right before the half, just like you were talking about, They could have easily got on the scoreboard, and they didn't. And we came back and we put more points on the board. That was huge.
We got the gift 3 points. So
that was
instead of
huge.
being 8-3, it's 11-0.
It was huge.
We have the belief, the confidence, a 2-point lead going in, and we get the ball coming out. And the first drive, as an old quarterback, the first drive of the third quarter was an imperatively important drive to me to set the whole tone to how you want to finish out the game, and to have that happen at the end of the second quarter, and then to come out at the beginning of the third quarter and put together a dominating 11-play, 7-minute drive to make it. Now it's 18-0. That puts a nail in the coffin.
Bernie, again, as fans, we're sitting there thinking, "Oh my gosh, 11-0." You know the Bengals are in the locker room going, "Everybody, just settle down.
Yeah.
We should be winning this game." And we're going to come out and play our game in the second half, because every announcer in America kept saying that vaunted Cincinnati Bengal defense has not given up a touchdown in the second half all year. And Hanford, we came right down. Chubb ran it down their throats.
Ken, I got to tell you, BK, I got to tell you guys, I have to be the first one to say that I didn't have any faith in our football team this game. You'd ask me, were we going to win this game? I said absolutely not. Even after we went in the half and we had the lead, I still thought with this high-powered offense with the Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to get it going at some point. But they didn't. Yeah. We didn't allow them to get it going, and that was just outstanding with our team.
Well, you know what, guys? Good teams know how to put it away. And a good quarterback, we saw Bernie Kosar, he know how to – when you got a guy down, you step on his neck. And Jacoby Brissett did it again. A great pass to Amari Cooper, who had an outstanding game.
Well, we talk about Amari all the time and his being able to run a great route. You watching him right here. Watch how he stiffed this defensive back. Get him to turn to the inside, and it's all over right now. And, BK, he put that ball right where he was supposed to.
The throw for young quarterbacks, throwing your fades to the back pylon, perfect like this from Jacoby. And for young receivers out there, we've talked through the course of the year of Amari Cooper and how he runs routes. For Amari Cooper to go up the field, notice he's on about the 5.5 yard line, but he's making a move up about the 4.5 yard line, almost like he's running a slant in there. That gets the receiver or the DB to settle his hips, actually turn his hips just a little inside, and just that little bit inside, and then he, with his quickness to blast to the outside like that, that's stealing.
Well, let me say this to you young corners out there. I mean, listen to me. This is a teaching moment. This will help you. First of all, if you look at the corner right there on that route, his feet are too wide. You can't
no base, no balance.
You have to keep your feet shoulder width. The second thing that he did wrong, he was bagging up when he's coming to him. One thing you have to understand: sit there with your feet shoulder width, bounce into place, because that receiver's juking. He has got to come out of there. He can't stand there all day doing. Sooner or later, he's going to come out. When he come out, boom! You get your hands on him.
Nail him.
You get your hands on him. Yep. You nail him.
Well, you know what? As you watch that play, guys, after being conditioned to so many bad things happening as a Browns fan, I was waiting to see that shot of the referee going, after further review, the receiver did not have possession. But he had it, 25-0, and at that point, I'm still not comfortable. And Joe Burrow shows what he can do. Let's take a look at Joey, your quarterback, Bernie.
And by the way, when it was 0-0, bet the over. Live bet of the over. Yeah. That one hit. That one hit.
All right, Joe Burrow, let's see what he's got.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, they showed a stat last night that he was throwing the ball in like 2.37 to under 2.4 seconds.
Very quick.
One of the fastest times in his career. That sounds cool. That sounds good. But you really, when you're playing these cover fours, now this ended up being a positive play for the Bengals, a negative play for the Browns. But by and large, this was some of the only a couple of the few bad defensive plays we had. But the horrible job that the Bengals offensive line did in protecting Joe Burrow. This is actually one of the better times he did it, and they still rushed 4. Emerson Hanford, he's really had a nice game. I mean, his cover 2, he'd want to probably get more depth there, and when he gets his hands on it, he's going to want to deflect that or come down with it. But typically, this is tough coverage when your quarterback gets out like this on a 2 deep.
You know what I like about the kid? I mean, he competes. I mean, he's not afraid to compete. He's not afraid. He realizes that I'm playing against guys that are good, just like I'm good. Occasionally, they're going to beat you, but you have to have a short memory, because we talk about a short memory if you're going to play defensive back. But we were sitting there and we were talking about Burrows, and we were talking about how quick he's getting the ball out. I mean, Bernie, I was going to ask you, I mean, you almost, if he's having to get the ball out that quick, you almost feel sorry for him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to make this about me, but that's actually what I was thinking about. I felt sorry for me on some of the times when you had to just throw the ball so quick. So you can't let the defense get its width in zone coverage. You don't allow it in man coverage to be able to get the ball down the field any. So you're really throwing everything within this studio right here. Everything from 0 to 10 yards. And again, just like we talked about Myles Garrett deflecting the ball that A.J. Green picked off in the first half, Joe Woods and our defensive staff, they've taken a lot of flack this year. They saw this all on the last few games of studying the Bengals, that, yes, they've been more successful offensively, but it's because they've been trying to trick people with these super quick, super fast throws, and nobody's getting separation.
And if anyone noticed, if you saw last night talking about how quick he was throwing the ball off, that's why a lot of times he was dropping the ball off to his back coming out of the backfield, talking about mixing.
Well, obviously, Joe Burrows is going to be he is a great quarterback now, and we're going to face him in a lot of years. We got another play coming up. Greedy Williams had some, what I thought was outstanding coverage, but, man, these receivers are good for the Bengals. Hanford, break this down.
Well, Greedy right now, I mean, it's just he can't get a break. I mean, obviously, if it's not an injury, he's got excellent coverage right here. I think he jumped a little too fast, but this wide receiver, I mean, just I think, is that Boyd? I want to say that's Boyd or Higgins.
That's Higgins.
That's Higgins, one of the two. But he just wanted this ball, and as a result, he came down with it and just walked in the end zone. But you can't fault Greedy right there, because I thought it was excellent coverage right there.
Yeah, T. Higgins is a big receiver. Of course, you don't want to see that happen, but you live with that in press coverage.
Yeah,
we saw in the last play that was a 2 deep cover 2. That was a cover 1 man coverage, press coverage, and then Joe Woods mixed up those 2 coverages with a 2 deep 5 under man coverage last night on 3rd and 2 to 4. That was a new wrinkle. That
wait, Bernie, what does that mean?
So those type plays. So that play that just happened there was a man coverage. So when he then started switching to the 2 deep 5 under man, that would be Greedy Williams would have him like that, and then he would have the safety over the top. So Greedy would be able to, you'd basically have the guys double covered.
Hey, Ken, you stick to the other, because it'll take us 2 days to.
That's why I'm ready for the telestrator next week.
Now you understand why the guys the communication is so important in the game, and all these different techniques and what you do. So that's what I said. We can't tell it to you right this moment, but just give us some time. But I'll tell you what,
after watching Hanford Dixon play cornerback, all he did was bump and run. Those receivers didn't get off the line.
So Hanford Dixon had a Hall of Fame career, and I'm not saying this to be a suck up. He had a Hall of Fame career playing man press coverage with the safety in the middle of the field. It's a lot easier playing man press coverage than 2 deep 5 under man, because you have more help that way.
And that's what I was saying about, and not taking anything away from Emerson on some of the plays that he made.
But they were cover 6.
They were cover 6s, and he knew he had
safety help over
top. And that way he could be aggressive.
So I can squat on everything, man. There's nothing getting caught underneath me.
You know,
absolutely.
I got to give another shout out to Hanford, because he broke some news on last week's show before anybody else said it.
Yeah.
Hanford said that he had word from his inside guys that Jamar Chase wasn't going to play because of his hip and hamstring. And guys, I think that made a difference.
Well, you know what, Hanford, that was a good call out for that. And again, as an ex-player, and we're heavy Browns guys, guys. We wanna win. We're so festive to be here with a W today, but we don't like to see it at the expense of a superstar young man like that. I mean, he's a special player, and it made a hell of a difference not having him last night.
I thought it was funny because you had Newsome and you also had Emerson came out early in the week, and when they found out that Chase wasn't going to play, and they were talking about how disappointed they are. They want to go against, you know what I was saying about
no, dog.
I said, let me tell you something. I can never remember me being disappointed when I didn't have when I was going against the top receiver and he wasn't going to play. I was happy he wasn't going to play because that way I don't have to deal with him the whole game.
Yeah, you don't want downtown Eddie Brown.
No.
Well, guys, although there were some great plays there from Joe Burrows, that crowd turned when the Browns got the momentum, and it's not often you get to celebrate like that, but that place was rocking like it hasn't rocked
shout out
before.
to our fans last night. That place was electric.
It was electric, guys. Now we're starting to get back into it, and on Halloween night, it couldn't be better than to send the Bengals away, stomping on the pumpkin. In fact, I think our Cracker Jack art team has a little.
You didn't take Pumpkinhead's pumpkin, did you?
I love it. Nick Chubb stomping on those Bengals, send them back to Cincinnati with a message.
We must have done that artwork before the game because didn't Nick Chubb vertical over that pumpkin? He jumped over it.
But I'll tell you what, the Manning brothers had a great time with this Halloween thing, and they were shouting out some of our Halloween costumes in the Northeast Ohio area, and a lot of people were dressed up like Bernie Kosar, including the Kelsey brothers. Bernie, what do you got to say about this?
Well, I'm liking. I hadn't seen this picture. I'm liking
look
that.
at that.
I'm a little biased. I really appreciate you guys swelling up my cranium here to see one of the nicest Halloween costumes I've seen. But it was awesome. I love Mr. and Mrs. Kelsey. They have massively awesome parents, and for them to have the awesome vision to dress up Jason and Travis as a little Bernie Kosar, number 19, as their youth. I want to take credit as that is the foundational lesson that made them the amazing people that they are.
Ken, let me tell you guys this funny story real quick before you guys go. Last night I was walking through the stadium on down by the KeyBank level, and I saw this guy walking through the crowd, and he had a 29 jersey on, and I looked at the back, and I saw it's 29. It had Dixon on it. So I ran back up and caught up with the guy and pulled him on the shoulder. He turned around and looked at me, and he kept walking. I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew who I was. You know, and it was so funny. I was just like, I said, "What the hell?" You know,
what are you touching me for?
Oh, he was looking for the towel. He was looking for the towel.
No, you didn't have the towel. That's why I didn't recognize you.
That's all right. Wait till he watches this podcast. And he's going to be watching us, and he's going to say, damn it, that was Hanford there, you know?
Guys, it sends us into the bye week. Those were like the old days, how we remember as old-time Browns fans, that stadium rocking. But now we've got the bye. We've got a chance to just think this thing over. As a Browns fan, you don't often get a chance to have a game like that where you can actually call it a rout. And now you start looking at the schedule. It's not out of the question. We take 2 out of 3. We go down to Miami, then the Bills and the Buccaneers. But we've got this bye week coming up. Let's just take a look. What's your guys' thoughts? What do we need to focus on as we think about the second half of the season?
Well, one of the really important things that I like with the bye week, and the bye week is different today than when we were playing. Because when we were playing, you weren't allowed to have like 5 days off. You were allowed to have it. They just never gave it to you. Now I think per the collective bargaining agreement, the players have to basically have the whole week off.
Yeah.
And they probably need it from a health standpoint of it. But I don't buy into that we are not light switches. You can't just flip the light switch on and I'm intense and then flip the light switch off and I'm not intense. So I don't like completely separating myself from the physical thing. I'm okay with because you need to have your body heal. But from the mental side of it, I don't think you should completely forget all the mental side of it because you don't want to just go dark for 72, 96 hours from your mental preparation side of it.
And I think that's what most of the guys are going to do. And not all of them, but most of them, especially like some of the younger guys, you know, they'll be jumping on a plane, maybe going to an island or something. But me personally, what I would do is our next opponent, I'm on them
on it.
right away. I want to know everything that I could possibly know about our next opponent. I want to know when they're going to the bathroom, what they're going to do when they get there. I mean, just you want to know everything. You want to know.
My favorite thing to do was to have a bye week. And I loved winning the division because in the division, if you win your division, you have the bye week for the playoffs. And again, this sounds cocky, but when I had 2 weeks, when I have 2 weeks to prepare for another team, I know everything about them. So I will have a game plan and plays, personnel grouping, and that's typically what you do in your bye week anyways, is readjust the things you've done good and then get rid of the things you've done poorly and stuff.
Also, too, while you're doing that, Ken, you're gonna get healthy. I mean, obviously, because it is a bye week. You know, you don't have a game to play. You're gonna get healthy, but in the meantime, you want to learn everything you possibly can about your opponent.
Well, and I'll tell you what too. It's really important from the study side of it, but also like if you really allow yourself to mentally kind of turn the light switch off and you want to come back next week against the Dolphins, it's easier said than done. And now by winning this game last night to be 3-5 now, each game is almost Coach Stefanski uses this with the players. Each game is almost a season on itself, and the magnitude of each game now. By winning this game last night, this kind of gives still life to this bye week, because even though it's 3-5, not the record we want, 3-5 still has us in the playoff in our division.
That's right.
Well, I can guarantee guys like me are looking at that schedule and we can figure out how we're going to make it. But next week's show, and for all those people that have made this the #1 show on the internet, make sure you tune in next week, because we're going to really get into grades of how the different coaches are doing, as well as this is a fascinating show we're going to have as it relates to injuries and what it's like for Bernie Kosar and Hanford Dixon now with what they've had to live with from the injuries, and some of the alumni players that played on the Browns are going to be on the show with some of the clips. So you don't want to miss that. But Hanford, let me ask you, just when you look at the first half, who surprises you most that stands out in a good way on the offense? Take out Brissett, Chubb, and Njoku. Who's somebody else that maybe we haven't been talking about that we should?
I'm going to say Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, DPJ.
Yeah.
I think this guy is really starting to come on. I think he's really starting to play well. He's becoming, if you watch him, he's starting to catch a lot of contested passes. I mean, when the ball is in the air, he goes after the ball, and he's come up with big play after big play after big play. And I think he's a guy. And obviously, I know you asked for one. I'm going to say that that entire offensive line.
Yeah.
You know what?
Those guys. Saying Donovan Peoples-Jones for sure is one guy. But Ethan Postnick.
Yeah.
I mean, when Nick Harris got hurt, and we thought that that the season was going to be tough, especially an old quarterback. Hate hearing that my center's out. To see Ethan come in and seamlessly, just about each and every week on the podcast, so we're talking glowing terms for Coach Callahan and the offensive line. You can't be saying that without your center being top tier.
Yeah.
All right, take Myles Garrett out of it, switch it around on defense. Who stands out?
I like answering the offensive question better, but Deion Jones came in and made a sack last night, and not that one guy makes the difference, but we've been struggling all season. That's his second game playing, and he had a sack and made some plays last night. And then again, I personally, Hanford, you may be one of the only DBs I like in this world, but I like Emerson too, how he's playing for a rook.
I was going to say I like him too, the kid out of Mississippi State. He's been outstanding, and like I said earlier, he competes every single play. He plays really, really hard. He's not afraid. I like him. I also like Alex Wright. I think he's coming on. I think he's playing extremely well. But if I had to name two, those would probably be the two guys that I think is really playing well.
Well, we showed yesterday running the ball works, and Coach Stefanski, I know you love the show. our Cracker Jack art team has something for you here as you plan on what we're going to be doing the second half of the season. Old school versus.
Well, I like that big play as I'm looking at Top Dog and Mighty Minnie here drawing plays. I mean, I got cut for drawing plays in that dirt. You know, you're getting glorified.
Here we go. Don't overcomplicate it, Coach. We saw yesterday, just run the ball. Analytics has its place, but the second half of the season, guys, we're 2-1 in the division. They're still away. Ravens picked up a big linebacker, but hey, we don't have to worry about the Steelers.
Yeah, that was a big trade. That was a big trade for the Ravens.
Trade.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, that unfortunately helps them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you know, we talk about the betting portion of our show, and we've been teasing some big announcements, and we're getting really close. In fact, I'm really happy to say that the Big Play Studios are now being constructed. For those of you that don't know this big announcement, Burke Lakefront Airport is the new home of the Big Play Studios, and we're working on some very cool ideas around sports betting. The idea is to make this a place that you want to go when you've got your sports betting in mind. Hang out, watch the game, hang out on our beautiful lounge, and watch our show live. But guys, let's talk about the bets. You're on a roll. Hanford, you were big last week, and that takes us to our big bets.
And let's keep it going.
Rolling.
Keep it going.
All right, Hanford, you're hot, but this is a tough one. Our single star, Bills -13 at the Jets.
Ooh, that is a tough one. Jets has a decent football team. They're playing at home. The Bills are just playing extremely well. 13 is a lot. I think the Bills will win, but I'm going to take the Jets on this one.
Hanford, you've been high on the Jets all year.
I have.
Yeah,
I
we've
think,
been.
I think the coach has got them going there. Yeah.
Since we disrespected the coach when he was here, we
Right.
took over his sideline for our halftime show. You know?
All right,
Yeah,
buddy,
that's a lot of points. You know, I talk weekly about how much I love Josh Allen. He's playing amazing, but the Jets and that amount of points is too much to pass up.
All right, well, I'll tell you guys, spending time in Las Vegas as we're nailing down these sports betting deals, here's what they tell you. It doesn't matter on that line. If you think the Bills are good, go with the Bills. So I'm going to go with the Bills on that one. Our 3-star in this Ravens team, now we got to be watching. Harbaugh always is in the mix. They're giving 2.5, but they're going down to New Orleans, playing in that dome.
BK, I'm going to let you take that one first.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just as much as I want to keep wanting the Ravens to lose, and I want to keep picking the other team. I'm just a Lamar Jackson fan, and I like the Ravens.
I like the Ravens too. I think with the addition now, they just made a big trade, I think they're going to put it together. So I'm going to go with the Ravens too. I think that's a good bet.
All right, and that takes us to our 5-star. Joey Burrow is going to try and rebound as he takes and hosts the Carolina Panthers. And as you can see here, the Panthers are getting 8.5 points. What do you guys think?
You know what? I think the Bengals get back on track. I think they're a little bit embarrassed leaving Cleveland. 8.5 a lot, but I think that high-powered offense and who knows? I don't know where Chase is in this whole thing, but I think the Bengals can cover that.
Yeah, you know what? I miss having Chase there for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I would like to see the Bengals keep losing and keep struggling and stuff like they did on Monday night and stuff. But you said a perfect phrase. That they were embarrassed how they played on Monday night. And when we're embarrassed, our attention to detail, our focus tends to be amplified. And I like the Bengals too.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, it's so relieving to be sitting here on a Victory Tuesday after Monday night, showing the nation what this team is all about. I'll tell you what, I believe.
On one of your
it was such an anticipation of anger that we scared the great Gabriella Cruz. She didn't even want to show up today because she didn't want to have him at the back yelling.
The last few weeks, I've been afraid to show up.
Guys, I just got to say, the meter went from about to explode to still angry because you know what? We're 3 plays away from leading the division. It shows you how close it is in this NFL any given Sunday, but we got half the season to go. Fans, you're going to want to stay tuned. We've got a big second half of the season on the shows. Next week, it's going to be all about the alumni football players and their health, as we said. But we can't wait to get to it as the Browns head to the playoffs. And with that, we're going to send it over to the guys for the 2-minute warning.
You know, a 2-minute warning here as we get into the bye week. And I want to thank the Cleveland Browns and thank our good God for getting us a victory here to be 3-5. Because to be 2-6 and then to hit your bye week, it really would have put a nail in our coffin for the season. So to beat 3-5, to play the best team game we've had so far this year, and see defensively, special teams, and offensively to play complementary football really for the first time this year bodes well for trying to get into the second half of the year.
Well, you know what? I'm still excited about Monday Night Football. Still excited about seeing the guys and a lot of the younger guys' face just light up, because...
Yeah, it didn't look like just another game to them either.
Right. And when you think about Monday Night Football, you think about Hank Jr. and some people say I'm no good. You want to hit a tune or something, and Miss Underwood and the whole thing. But Monday Night Football, big dog.
Everybody's watching.
Everybody
watched us dominate.
Another good show, my friend.
Thank you. Hey, and the other thing, this not to get ahead of ourselves because it's a game at a time, but when you play games like that, this is why if we get somehow, some way get in the playoffs, this is why no team wants to play us. When you can play that physical on your offense and defensive line, and it's, as you get to the second half of the year and to the playoffs, that's the type of team that teams don't want to play against.
Good show, partner.
Sounds good, brother.
Here
You matter.
we go,
Go Browns.
Brownies. Here we go.
Roof, roof.